This is Cast of Wonders, the fiction podcast for young adults featuring stories of the fantastic. Episode 140 for October 5th, 2014. It's October, everyone. That means it's time for our annual Halloween special. Like family and group costumes, this year we've gone for a theme, presenting a collection of horror stories about endings, both figurative and literal. The dead and the undying, spirits and sea monsters, apocalypse writ both large and small. Welcome to the end of the world. We'll start things off on the lighter side with 2 flash fiction offerings. How about a nice warm bowl of soup to fortify yourself for the days ahead with Of Pumpkin Soup and Other Demons by Natalia Theodorado. And apologies, Natalia, if I got your name wrong. Natalia is a media and cultural studies scholar currently based in Portsmouth in the UK. Her writing has appeared or is forthcoming in Clark's World, Strange Horizons, Crossed Genres, and elsewhere. She's also a Risling Award nominee. She's also a first reader for Goldfish Grimm's Spicy Fiction Sushi, and next month, the Mammoth Book of Sci-Fi Stories by Women will include her story, The 11 Holy Numbers of the Mechanical Soul. You can find her online as well on Twitter. Pumpkin Soup is narrated for you by Catherine Inskip, another of my new friends from LunCon this year. Catherine weighs galaxies for a living and builds worlds in her spare time. She's addicted to chocolate and Japanese logic puzzles. She's not entirely new to podcasting and narrating fiction, but she doesn't have any projects to share. Yet. The time has come.
Of Pumpkin Soup and Other Demons by Natalia Theodorado. The shutters rattled in their hinges as rainy fists banged against the wood. Katina rubbed her knuckles. They made a creaky noise. "Old bones, what did you expect?" she chuckled. "Old bodies are as good as coffins." She stirred the pumpkin soup boiling on the stove and tasted her wooden spoon. "Almost ready." The wind pounded on the door with all his might and fury. It almost sounded like knocking. "Are you set on tearing my house down?" she asked him. Then another knock. And another. Katina looked at the door, her left eyebrow raised. "Is someone there?" she asked. The voice behind the door sounded childish and cold. "Yes," it said. "Hello? We are here. Please, open up." Katina limped to the door, her knees protesting the sudden strain. She cracked the door open. There was a boy standing at the threshold. He looked tired and very, very wet. "Oh my," she said, opening the door wider. "What are you doing here? Are you all by yourself? Come on in before this crazy wind sweeps you up like the twig that you are." She pulled the boy inside and closed the door behind him. "Thank you, Granny," the boy said, glancing at the shut door. "What's your name, boy?" "Christos." The boy's clothes and hair were drenched, and a cool air seemed to hang about him. "Well, Christos, you're dripping all over my rug. Go fetch a couple of towels from that cupboard over there and we'll dry you up." The boy did as he was told. "That's about as dry as you will get tonight," she told him, after she finished rubbing the rain off his hair and wrapped him in a dry towel. "I'm afraid I don't have any clothes for you, though. No more grandchildren around here." "That's okay, Granny," Christos said. "Thank you." His voice was low, almost a whisper. Katina shivered. Even though the boy was dry enough now, that cold air was still there, as if coming from within him, as if he had swallowed the storm itself. "Are you hungry? I have hot pumpkin soup. Would you like some?" she asked. "It's very good," she added, winking at the boy. "I make a wicked pumpkin soup." "Yes, please." He looked up at her, expectant. He was an odd one, for sure, but all hungry boys look alike. "Take a seat." Christos climbed on one of the wooden chairs and watched her make her way to the stove. She set a bowl of steaming soup in front of him. She could see the sweet pumpkin smell made his eyes water. Yet he hesitated. "Go ahead," she urged him, but instead of diving in, the boy crossed his hands in front of his chest and whispered what could only have been a prayer. Then he dug in. "Aren't you precious?" Katina said, watching him eat. "What were you doing all alone in the storm?" "I was not alone," the boy said, between blowing on the soup and swallowing. "Oh? I am with my papa." Katina blinked. "You mean you are with your father? Where is he now?" "Outside." Christos stuffed himself with soup, avoiding her eyes. "He is outside right now?" The boy nodded. "Why didn't you say anything? The skies are coming down out there. It's freezing." "He doesn't mind the cold." "Nonsense," Katina said, and pushed herself to walk to the door again, to her niece's dismay. Much as she disliked the idea of strange men in her house, she wasn't about to make an orphan of this child tonight. She threw the door open and poked her head out. "Hello, mister?" she called. The wind ruffled her hair. "Goodness, hello?" She waited for a few moments, trying to see through the dark and the rain, but she couldn't make out anything. Her bones complained. Reluctantly, she shut the door. Poor child, she thought. "I told you he doesn't want to come in," the boy said. He had finished the soup and put the dirty bowl in the sink. She nodded to herself. Poor child. "It's getting late," she said. "Let's get you to bed, shall we?" Katina spread one of her old sheets on the sofa and piled a few blankets on top of the boy. Still, the coldness lingered about him. He didn't seem to mind. "How long have you been alone?" she asked him, just as sleep was about to claim him. "I told you, Papa is out there. We're going north where it's cold." "You ought to go south where it's warm, my silly bird," she whispered. She ran her crooked fingers through the sleeping boy's hair. "Let the angels watch over you, child." In the morning, the storm had given way to a thick fog that settled over the valley like soup. The temperature in the house had dropped dramatically overnight. Katina opened the shutters to let in the light and its warmth. It didn't make much difference. The day was dark and heavy with the dampness of last night. Christos ate the toasted bread she gave him, and was eager to leave as soon as he devoured the last crumbs. "But where will you go, child?" she protested. "I can take care of you. God knows I could use the company." "Thank you, Granny," he said, "but my papa is waiting." He turned as he was reaching for the doorknob and added, "He won't forget this." Christos stepped outside, and she went after him as fast as her old legs would carry her. The boy was already walking up the hill when she made it to the road. He was heading north. The fog was about to swallow him up. Katina shook her head in disapproval. "Go south, silly bird!" she shouted. A gush of wind stirred the air, and the fog parted briefly. For a moment, Katina thought she glimpsed a tall figure walking next to the boy, the dark outline of a man holding the child's hand. She squinted. The man turned his head. She couldn't make out his face, but she could have sworn that the man looked straight into her eyes and nodded. When she blinked, both man and child were gone. Katina rushed back in and locked the door behind her. The house felt much warmer now. She leaned against the door frame. "He won't forget this," she muttered, and crossed herself 3 times.
Accidentally summoning or binding a demon while cooking counts as the end of the world in my book, not to mention the end of dinner. But there are more ways for your world to end than demons. Death might be the end of one person's world, but the beginning of another. The Ghosts of Grammy Goneril is written by Austin H. Gilkeson. Austin is a Japanese government bureaucrat by day and a writer by night, and sometimes by lunch, he says. His stories have appeared in Underneath the Juniper Tree and Spellbound. This story was originally published in the Halloween 2013 edition of Underneath the Juniper Tree. It was inspired by the Japanese Obon Festival and his memories of eating disgusting candy given to him by his otherwise loving grandparents. He's currently revising a novel in stories about the story's main character, the Wicked Witch Mab Ipswich, and hopes to submit it soon. He lives in Chicago with his wife and son, and you can find him on his blog or on Twitter, which we'll link for you in the show notes. Your narrator is the wonderful Christiana Ellis, our own Nurse Withers from Camp Myth. Christiana is a writer and podcaster living in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which must have the best Halloweens ever. Her comedic science fiction audio drama, Space Casey, recently completed its 2nd season, and her novel, Nina Kimberly the Merciless, is available in print, ebook, and as a free podcast audiobook. You can follow her on Twitter and Google+, and find everything she does at her website, christianaellis.com.
The Ghost of Grammy Goneril by Austin H. Gilkeson. Dead grandparents give the worst candy. Alive grandparents give bad candy too. Hard stuff that tastes like chalk and air freshener. But you can eat it. The stuff that comes from the other side? It's ineatable. Inedible? Whatever. It's gross. Maybe you're not a witch like me and you don't know about this stuff, but it's like this. On All Hallows Day, a door opens between our side and the other side, and our dead relatives come back to visit. We build altars in our houses with a mirror for the dead people to come through. We put out their favorite foods, too. Pizza, oranges, eel bacon. The dead can't eat it, but they like looking at it. Dead people are weird. The dead are supposed to give a gift from their side, too. It's usually good fortune or a glimpse of the future, but with my grandmother Goneril, it was always gross, dead candy. You want to know what it tastes like? Find a slug. Dip it in fish guts. Let it rot for 30 years. Eat it. That's what it tastes like. Death. This year, it's all I got. I didn't go to the All Hallows Eve feast with the other witches on Black Cauldron Lane. No roast pork, no candied yams, no pumpkin pie. Mom grounded me for eating the eel bacon off Grammy Goneril's altar. I didn't see what the big deal was. She wasn't going to eat it. "Mob Yucca Ipswich, now you listen to me," Mom said right before my family left for the feast. She used my full name so I'd know she was really mad. "If I find a single mote of dust out of place when we get home, you will spend the next week scrubbing the attic floor. Is that clear?" "Yes, Mom," I said. Of course I didn't mean it. Right after they left, I got my broom. I figured getting left behind wasn't so bad. Nobody could stop me from flying around the house as fast as I wanted. But the broom didn't lift off. I tried a few other spells, but nothing worked. Mom had jinxed me. I couldn't do magic. I tried to watch TV, but Mom had jinxed that too. The only show it picked up was a documentary about broccoli. I tried to read, but every page of every book in the house had turned blank. I tried to listen to music, but Mom had hexed my music player, so every track was just her yelling. Mom can be really evil. I was trying to think of something awful I could do to get back at her, like clog the toilets with her scarves, when someone said my name. Mob. In the mirror on Grammy Goneril's altar was Grammy Goneril's face. Grammy, what are you doing? It's All Hallows Eve. You're not supposed to come till tomorrow. The door between worlds opened early, and, well, I couldn't wait to see you all. Okay, I said. Her voice sounded weird, like she was scared. Oh, look how big you've gotten. How old are you now? 4? I'm 11, Grammy, I said. I was 4 when Grammy Goneril died. Dead people aren't good at remembering stuff that happens after they die. 11! My, how time flies when you're no longer part of the space-time continuum. Now, be a dear and help me out of this mirror. I hesitated. Getting stuck at home with nothing to do was bad. Getting stuck at home with a dead person was worse. I didn't really remember Grammy Goneril, just that she used to give too tight hugs and smelled like soap. She probably wanted to ramble off a bunch of boring stories about when she was alive. I bet she had gross candy, too. Please, she said. Okay. It's not like I had anything else to do. I went to the altar and stood at the mirror so it looked like Grammy Goneril was standing behind me. And then she was. She patted my head. It felt weird, like she'd touched me but nothing had touched me, like the echo of a touch. Thank you, Mob. Here, have some candy, she said. I sighed and held out my hand. You have to accept what dead people give you or they can't stay. 3 black things that looked like burned frog guts dropped into my hand. I put them in my pocket. Grammy gazed at her altar. What a lovely altar! Oranges, donuts, fried eggplant. All my favorites, but no eel bacon? Oh, and I'd been so looking forward to the eel bacon. Ooh, what do you care? You can't eat it. I felt a little bad about eating the eel bacon. Not that I was going to tell her I ate it. I can't eat it, but I can sense it in a way. You'll understand when you're dead, Grammy said. Food evokes so many memories. It helps us remember who we were in life, what we did. Oh, but you can't imagine how much I miss eating. Such a wonderful sensation. Although it is nice not having to go to the bathroom afterwards. What a hassle that was. I don't know how you stand it. I told you dead people were weird. Grammy looked at the floor for a while. I tried to think of something to do with her. Normally we just talk to the dead on All Hallows Day. We ask for blessings and they share their memories. That's it. It's kind of boring. Do you want to play a board game, Grammy? I asked. I hoped Mom hadn't jinxed them, too. Grammy smiled at me. Oh, no thank you, child. I was just hoping to visit. And where is everyone, by the way? At the All Hallows Eve feast. I'm grounded, so I can't go. Oh, poor child, to be imprisoned all alone on All Hallows Eve, Grammy said. Whatever did you do? I clogged the toilets with Mom's scarves. Grammy burst out laughing. Like mother, like daughter. You know, child, when your mother was 15, I forbade her from seeing this boy she'd been dating. She got so mad she turned all of my diamond jewelry into coal." "She never told me that," I said. I was starting to like Grammy Goneril. "Your mother also used to sneak into my bedroom at night and put slime spiders in my sock drawer. She was quite the handful," Grammy said and chuckled. It was hard to imagine Mom making trouble. She definitely didn't like me doing it. "Hey, Grammy, I saw some slime webs in the basement. Do you want to put the spiders in Mom's sock drawer?" Grammy's orange eyes twinkled. "Oh, a little revenge would be fun, wouldn't it?" I smiled. This was better than some dumb feast. Dead people can only go where their reflection goes, so I grabbed the mirror off the altar. It was heavier than it looked. I almost dropped it. That would have been bad. If you break a dead person's mirror, they get stuck on this side and their spirit fades. Mom would kill me if I did that to Grammy. Plus, it's 7 years bad luck. "Let's go," Grammy said. I carried the mirror down to the basement. We found a couple of green slime spiders behind the washing machine. Grammy grabbed them. The spiders spat their poison slime on her, but it just dripped through her see-through skin. I lugged the mirror upstairs to Mom and Dad's room. Grammy laughed as she stuffed the slime spiders in Mom's socks. Mom was going to shriek like a banshee when she found them. I couldn't wait. "Hey, Grammy, I can get grounded every year on All Hallows Eve," I said. "Then we can play pranks on Mom together." "I'd like that very much, child. Grammy started to say. Then she looked at the mirror and went pale. I mean, even paler than a ghost usually is. I bent my head over the mirror. In the glass, I saw half my face upside down, Grammy looking freaked out, Mom's dresser, and flames. That was weird. There was no fire in the room. "They found me," Grammy whispered. "No, I can't go back. Not yet." "Go where?" Grammy sank onto Mom and Dad's bed. "When I was a young witch, I wanted power, and in its pursuit I did terrible things, unforgivable things. I wish I could make it right, but there is some black magic that can never be undone. And so when I died, I was condemned to the burning darkness. Like other spirits, we can slip away on All Hallows Day. It is the only relief from our torment. Tonight I managed to escape a bit early, but it seems the demons have found me out. They will be angry." The mirror grew hot in my hands. "You mean you went to No swearing, please," Grammy said. "Mob, you must promise me you'll never tell your mother. It would hurt her so to know my fate. I'm so sorry, child, to put this on you." Dark shapes moved in the flames. I couldn't let the demons take Grammy, but I didn't know what to do. I couldn't even do magic. The mirror burned my hands. I had to set it down or I'd drop it. Then I got an idea. "Grammy, what if I break the mirror? You'll fade, but that's better than going back to No swearing, please," Grammy said. "No, I can't ask you to do that. Not for me. The bad luck alone. And your mother, she wouldn't understand." I shrugged. "I can take potions for the bad luck. And I can make it look like an accident. Mom believed it when I blew up my sister Tamara's computer." Grammy was quiet for a while. Then she nodded. "My spirit will fade into the ether like a raindrop into the sea. Such peace. Yes, I'd like that." I got some oven mitts and carried the mirror downstairs to the altar. Grammy looked around the living room for a while. She looked sad now, not scared. "So many memories," she said. The demons in the mirror got closer. I could see the reds of their eyes. Grammy? I'm ready. Tell your mother I love her very much. Goodbye, Mab, and thank you. I only wish we'd had more time together. Me too. I'll miss you, Grammy. Grammy smiled and gave me a nod. I lifted the mirror above my head and then let it go. The glass shattered on the floor. I heard a sound like a big sigh of relief. Grammy's ghost flickered out like a candle. My bad luck started quick. Right then, the front door opened. Mom stepped inside, took one look at the mirror, and screamed, "What have you done?" Mom ran over and knelt by the broken glass. She started crying. "Oh, Goneril, I'm so sorry you won't be able to visit this year," she said. Then she turned to me. "Was this to get back at me for grounding you, Mab? Is that why you did this?" "No, Grammy wanted me to break it. She didn't tell you, but she was in Enough!" Mom shouted. I'd never seen her so mad. "I don't want to hear any lies. Go to your room. I will think of a punishment for you later." Clean the attic every day for 6 months. That's what I got for being a good granddaughter. But at least Grammy was free. That made me feel a little better when I was scraping bat crap off the floor. A little. Mom believed me about Grammy eventually, but I still got grounded another week for the slime spiders. I never ate the dead people candy Grammy gave me. I keep it on my dresser. That way it's like the altar food. It helps me remember her. Plus, I bet it tastes really gross.
Demons and ghosts. Not a bad start to the end of the world. But there are many ways all things can come to a close. And we have more to show you in the coming weeks as the wind howls and the nights continue to lengthen. Join us next week for another pairing of apocalyptic tales when we present Reading Time by Beth Cato and A House in the Forest by Sean Bailey. You packed your bug spray, right? If you've enjoyed this story, then please lend a hand in supporting podcast fiction. Leave us and this story a review on iTunes or our Facebook page, and share the episode with others. You can find us on Twitter as well. We're at Cast of Wonders. And please consider making a donation to Cast of Wonders via the PayPal links on our site. Every little bit helps, and you have our heartfelt thanks for helping us keep bringing you the best in young adult audio fiction week after week. Cast of Wonders is a production of Wolfsbane Publishing and is brought to you by the creative team of Barry J. Northern, our publisher and artist, Alan Sale, our audio producer, and I remain, as always, your humble editor and host, Marguerite Kenner. Our episodes are released under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives license. Share it all you like, but don't change it.
We know where you live.
Our theme, Appeal to Heavens, is by Alexei Nov from musicalley.com. Thanks for listening.